Alright, and we're now live, running the Super Chief train. This is one I haven't had going for a while there, but got it all set up again. The locomotive seems to be running fine. Just needed to have its commutator all cleaned up. So yeah, we got this whole set back. Did a little bit of work down here today, got some stuff fixed up. I cleaned up the basement a tiny bit. I know it might not show exactly, but I did do some work around here. And yeah, anyway, we got some people coming in here. X-Inc, Bob, Les's Cello Trains, Avatar Isaac, B&O Railroad Fan, Mark Strudwick, Eloy Gurnez, sorry I can't pronounce that, AV6 Gaming, Northeast Ohio Rail Fan, Evans Train Tube, Koi Petery, On the Rails with Ryan, Trackside Rail Productions, Lone Wolf Rail Fan, Frito TV, Seth Gabbard, Kitty Witchy, Amy Kraft, NJ Transit, Tanner VBHC, TRIHEX, welcome, Pedamont Rail Fan, F40 Productions, Cheyenne Danbeck, Glorious Leader, Nyland Rail Corporation, Trackside Rail Productions, Union Pacific 844 Productions, Kevin Blackhawk, Ali K Productions, Tennessee Railfan Productions, Benjamin Vang, and then we got a few, Ryan Muller, hello, M&N Short Lines Railroad, hello, Ellery Parsons, Henry Nethofer, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Ring So Firth, Lehigh River Subdivision, welcome. John Hensler, can you say happy birthday to me? Absolutely, happy birthday to John Hensler. DB Tech, hello, Scam Track. I don't recall seeing that one in there before, welcome. Somebody's saying happy 4th of July to everyone. I think we're a little ways away from that, but I like the spirit. This is the Santa Fe service to Pepperland. I'm going to set the chat to live chat too. Hopefully I won't miss any. Can you run the BNSF-9 in a bit? Yeah, we can run that one. Hook up some freight cars to it as well. We'll let this go around a few times first though, because I like to take off the entire train, because these cars are all lighted and they actually draw a fair amount of current, so it's just kind of hard on the controller to have that going, plus an old locomotive. Happy December. Yes, happy December 1st, everyone. SMT, are you going to do an Xmas contest? Because I'm ready to win. Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know when I'm going to have the video up. But to all the people watching the okay, okay, yeah, I think that's a sign to switch up. But anyway, to all the people watching this live stream, you're gonna get a sneak preview of what might be the giveaway, or the contest prize, I should say. Yeah. So anyway, hope that's good. Let me just put these. I'll put them on this for now. Casey Hudson, what's the contest? Great question, Casey. For anybody who doesn't know, last year we did a Christmas display contest. So basically, everybody makes a Christmas train display of some kind, like a small layout, something very festive, and then everybody enters. They make a video. They put a certain hashtag on it, and then I put all of those into a playlist. Everybody goes and watches the playlist, determines which entry they find is best, and then everybody votes, and whoever gets the most votes wins the prize. So yeah, that's going to be the contest. Rest in peace. Did it kick out? Uh-oh. Are we still going? It doesn't I don't know why it would just do that all of a sudden. Lag. Working, cut out for a second. I hope it's back. Hello from South Carolina, welcome. It is now, okay. Now let's get that BNSF-9er on. Run the big boy. I wish I could. Recently, I discovered, though, it broke. One of the bolts for the driver popped out, and I don't know where it went, which is really unfortunate, because that is an engine that's quite nice to run. Anyway, let's get this one going here. Oh, gee, I never can remember. It's 40-something. 4926. Yes, that's right. 26. Yes, there we go. What's that layout with nothing on it? Some family friends of ours, they want to get their son into model railroading, so I'm building them a layout. Pennsylvania Railroad, thank you so much for the super chat. How rare is it to find a Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson online? I don't know how hard they are to find. I know Rapido made their release. Those I think you can still find. But they want a pretty penny for them. So really depends how much you're willing to pay. But thank you very much for the super chat, Serenity. SMT, I sent you something. I'll have to go check the P.O. box. I haven't checked it in probably about a week and a bit. The last time I did check it, though, I don't know. I'll have to include this in a video. Somebody sent me a letter, and it was just priceless. It was really funny. I don't know. It just had a really unique sense of humor to it, and I showed it to the family, and they were laughing too. I don't know. Somebody just I don't know. It was pretty entertaining. Run an SD70 ACE if you have one. I don't know that I do. Any tips for building a model railroad, particularly in HO scale? Build it the way you want, and I know that may sound like very obvious advice. Like, yeah, obviously it's my layout. But there are a lot of people that will give you all sorts of pieces of advice, you know, say to follow realism and find a location and find an era and choose steam or diesel, yada, yada, yada. And if you really enjoy that aspect of the hobby, you know, fill your boots with it. But if you're somebody who doesn't care about that stuff, I would just avoid it, frankly. You know, do what you enjoy in the hobby. If you see a building at a train store that you like, buy it. You know, if you see model railroad equipment like locomotives and rolling stock, buy it. And you know, take your time with it, though. That's the only thing. You know, go at it at a reasonable rate, because it's when you slam things together, then you're gonna have problems, and it will ultimately become a pain in the neck. So that's about all I have in terms of advice for building a layout. I might have more building this one, though. Anyway. It's running a little faster. How's the Brass Beast? The Hudson? I don't know. I haven't run it since the last live stream, but it's up on the shelf there now. Can you run the Curse to Sella? Yeah, we can run that. Where is Nerf Kit? Nerf Kitty's outside. BN Brett, congratulations on 20,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I want to make some sort of a video about it, but I really don't know. I don't know what to do for that type of video, because for 10,000, I had a rough idea of what I wanted to make, you know, and I wanted it to be a video, you know, crediting all the people that had to do with building the channel and its early days and sort of the history of it. And I'm happy with how that turned out. The only thing is that, you know, that video sort of already explains it, and that was just months ago. That was back in, I think, mid-June. I mean, I can make another video like that, but I feel like I would just be repeating what I already did. So if you guys have any suggestions for what you want to see for a 20K special, I'm all ears. Because I have no idea right now, but I want to do something, because it is a milestone, and I have all of you to thank for it. Can you run the RDC? Sure, I'll run the Acela first, because I said I was going to run that, but we'll run the ridiculously fast RDC. Anyway, I think we'll get this thing off the main line and put some other equipment on. What's the most favorite train? Thank you very much, SMT. I have my uncle to thank for my HOCL train. Nice looking layout. Thank you. Favorite train? I think it's got to be the Hiawatha. Specifically, this Rivarossi one. This belonged to my grandmother when she was a kid, and when she was in England when she was a child. She found these things in a not an attic. They were in the bottom of a closet. She thought they were all gone. She found them, but they were all in bad shape, and this one had suffered from zinc rot. And when I got into trains, she told me, hey, I got model trains, you know, from when I was a kid. So she showed them to me, and that was one of them. And she said I could, you know, take that one, see if I could get it going again. I was 6 years old. It wasn't really me getting it going. I was taking it to shops, and every shop we brought it to, none of them could get it going. And I tried for years back when I was 12 to get that thing running. It never went well. And then I found the Tycho Rivarossi form. And yeah, basically from there, with the advice of many other very wise individuals, we were able to get this thing going again. And it's ultimately what created the channel. So it's a very special engine. Now, anyway, Cursed Acela. Let me get that. There we are. In Vermont, no snow. Yeah, there's not a whole lot here either in Canada. Well, maybe in some parts of the country, but at least in the Outaouais, there doesn't seem to be a crazy amount. It's been melting off whatever's left of it. We might get some tomorrow, though, so we'll see about that. Sierra de Hobo. Evening, Harrison. How are you doing this fine Tuesday night? I'm well. How are you? Acela goes back on track. Boss music starts playing. Yep, it seemed hopeless, but it's running again. Owen McCurran, can you read my super chat? Sorry, I didn't notice any. Let me set it to super chat. Oh yeah, look at that. So I just restored a Lionel G class James yesterday. Oh, very nice. Thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. The 2 super chats, very nice. Yeah, sorry, I just didn't see them right away. They might have been further down in the chat. SMT, do you have any weathered locomotives? If you do, can you please run one? Thanks. Yes, I do. I'll run it in just a moment. First, we'll run the Acela and the RDC, but there is, well, one I got actually quite recently that's weathered, so we'll run that one. Can you run an FP45? Sure. I might have to hold back on requests after this one a little, just because I find when there's a lot of requests at once, sometimes some of them get forgotten and people get a bit frustrated, so try to keep on top of them. Here in southern Ontario, we got snow only about 10 centimeters and a half melted. It's snowing again. So it sounds like fairly similar weather to here. What camera do you use? This is being filmed. All my videos and this live stream are all done on an iPhone 11 Pro. Can you please explain the Christmas contest again, because you cut out during most of it? Okay, so last year we did a contest where everybody would make a display, Christmas display with a train in it, and everybody would make a video on their display showing what they created. All those displays had a hashtag on them, which was SMT Xmas Train 2019. This year it will probably be SMT Xmas Train 2020. And then I put all of those into a playlist. People could watch the playlist and decide which one they liked of the bunch. And then at the end of it all, everybody would vote on who they thought made the best display. And whoever did the best display won a locomotive. So the plan is to do that again. I've already bought the locomotive. I just need to make the video. I'm going to be changing up the rules just a tiny bit this year, just to make it a little bit more fair for everyone. But for the most part, it's going to be the exact same thing as before. Do you have any grain rail cars? Yes, I do. There's 2 actually sitting over there. 1 inch of snow in lower Michigan. Huh. Finally got snow in Cleveland. 12 inches today. Recent winters have sucked with the degree amounts of snow. Huh, yeah, well, that's more than we've got out here, and we're further north, so that's interesting. I'm doing just fine, Harrison, with it being December 1st. I got high hopes. We got 4 to 6 inches of snow. Anyway, I think we'll run the RDC now. Hey, SMT, I don't know how to call it, but on this little Bachmann Shanter steam locomotive, the wheel came apart. I think what you're talking about is on some locomotives, steam locomotives in particular, you've got the wheel and then you've got the metal ring around it, known as the tire. Sometimes those can become separated. I've seen it happen on some engines. I haven't seen it happen on a Bachmann one, but I'm sure it's possible. The way to fix that is, it's a little bit tricky. You have to be really careful doing it, but you just need to buy yourself, let me see if I have one down here. Go to your local dollar store or what have you, and either buy crazy glue or super glue. I personally like the super glue with these brushes. And you gently rub a little bit around the wheel. And then you fit the tire around that and make sure it's taut around the whole wheel. And if you do that carefully, it should be okay. Anyway, we're going to run the RDC, right? So for anybody who hasn't seen this, this is kind of a famous piece on the channel because it's a band drive from Athearn, and if you haven't ever seen a Athearn band drive, you might not know how fast they're capable of going, because it really is something quite impressive. Anyway, we're going to give this thing some power and just let it head out for a little bit of a rip around the layout here. Oh, that's fun. See, the scary thing is it's not even on full power, and this controller is even stronger than that one, so this thing could probably do, I don't know, 30 to 40% more speed. Here, I'll show going a little bit faster. I'm just going to do it in this direction because I feel like it's a little bit safer. I don't think it will derail with this controller. It doesn't crank out enough power, but if we switched over to the super powerful controller, this thing could go even faster, really. So already you can see the lights blinking just a little bit in the corners as it, I think, is balancing on the outside rails. Hey, SMT, which Bachmann starter set should I get? I would really, I don't have one in particular that I'd recommend getting. I would just buy the cheapest one you can and go from there. So hop on Amazon, eBay, it doesn't really matter. Whatever websites sell train sets at a good price, the Bachmann ones, and just search for the absolute cheapest one. I'd buy one for like 80 bucks. And with the money you save, because again, the higher end train sets, those things go for like $200, $150. With the money you save, buy yourself a couple engines or some extra track or something, because you'll get more for your money, and frankly, it will be better quality, because those great big Bachmann train sets, they look very intriguing, but frankly, I wouldn't touch one for how much they want for them. They're very expensive. The truth is, too, the $80 Bachmann train sets come with most of what the $200 ones have. They're not really that different. So you pay pretty much double the price for a lot less good stuff. All right, can you run the Canadian National SD40-2 that the seller thought was a lifelike? Yeah, we can run that one. I already said I was going to run a weathered locomotive, though, so we'll run that first, and then we can run that. Good evening, SMT. How's the weather in your home area? Can you run the Athearn F7 from your previous video? It's been mostly rain, really, throughout the Outaouais, so not terribly exciting. Hopefully it will get a bit better. We might get some snow tomorrow. That would be nice. Can I run the F7? It doesn't belong to me, so since it's something I worked on for somebody, I'm not going to run it just because if I were to, have an accident or something with it, like drop it on the floor, that would kind of be on me. But the person who owns it, whose name's Hagen, he's in these live streams pretty often, so if he joins in and gives it the okay, then absolutely. Hello, SMT, what's your P.O. box? I want to send you something. Let me see if I can find it. I've got that's it right there. So you can screenshot that or what have you. You could screenshot it and print it off and stick it on a box and ship whatever it is you want to ship. Now, anyway, let's connect some cars to this. The couplers work a little better than I thought on that caboose. Anyway, let's get this old blue box running here. That's the wrong direction. There we go. The Bachmann set increased in price a bit. I ended up paying $90 for one of the really basic sets with just a circle of track a few years back. Yeah, it's the cheapest sets even in Canada are pretty expensive, but that's not really Bachmann's fault. Well, it's not entirely. They're way more expensive in Canada just because our dollar isn't worth as much as it once was. Like, back in 2011, the Canadian dollar was pretty much on par with the American dollar. It was even worth more than it for a little while. So a $90 train set in America was a $90 train set here, no problem. But Bachmann's raised their prices over the years, so their newer sets are more expensive. And the exchange rate has got really worse for us Canadians. So now, your $100 Bachmann train set costs $130 for a basic set. So that part, I can't blame Bachmann for that. It's obviously not their fault, but it still sucks for the consumer when you have to cough up top dollar for a basic train set that a couple years ago would have cost you like $50 less. Hey SMT, can you double head to steam engines? Maybe so. Matt, New Haven Model Railroad, welcome. How are you? Any locomotive can have a smoke unit if you fix it wrong enough. Wise words of wisdom right there. I've managed to fit I guess in that sense, a smoke unit in a few of my diesels. Hope you had a good day, SMT. I've got snow all over the place here in Colorado. What's your all-time favorite train? All-time favorite train? Well, the Hiawatha. It's not around anymore, though. I mean, the cars are, but I'm talking about the steam locomotive. Other than that, probably something like one of two things. If you're talking about famous trains, it's 4449. That's a great one. For other ones, though, it's my local railway, which used to exist. I built a Gabe for my HO scale layout, and it's sitting in my family's farm shop with tools all over it. I don't know what a Gabe is, but if that's a larger Locomotive. That sounds good. Can you run your Canadian National Hudson locomotive, please? I don't know if I have a Canadian National Hudson. I have a Canadian Pacific one. I can run that if that's what you're referring to. And that is why inflation is bad. Yeah, exactly. That's the spirit. People sometimes ask me if I have hobbies outside this. I don't want to go too much into detail because I feel like it might spur on unwanted political chat, which I don't know politics here. But one of my side hobbies is economics, and I can tell you some things about that, but I won't. Anyway. Run your CN switcher. Like the little 0401? If I can find the little devil, I'll run it. This, yeah. I have a Lionel steamliner, and my cousin and brother were running it real hard, and they thought it had a smoke feature, but it was the cloth wire burning. Oh. That does not sound great. Can you show the 1985 runaway train? Well, I mean, we could even run it. I'm working on installing my Tyco log dump track. Oh, that's a fun addition. Honestly, if I had the space for it on this layout, I probably would install something like that. I got something similar, though. I got a lifelike model of it. It's pretty much the same thing, but... well, usually this would trigger this piece to come out, and it would tip stone into the car. It never worked very well, honestly, but it was a fun thing to have on the layout. Anyway, we're now going to run the Canadian National SD40-, SD40-2, the one the seller thought was a lifelike. That was requested, so we'll run it. And then after that, we will run, I guess the Hudson. I assume that's what the last person wanted there. I don't actually know where that Canadian National unit is. We might have to go looking for it. I think I saw it on this layout earlier. Yes, it is. Got bit by the train bug, and I'm enjoying your videos, many other HO scale train videos. Oh, it's good to hear. It's a wonderful hobby to be part of, and it's great to hear when people are getting into it. Got any advice for beginner model railroading? Table sizes, supplies, store supplies, etc. Yeah, okay. So for building your very first table, my general advice would be build as big a table as you have space for. You know, like obviously, you know, sensible is a good idea. But if you have space for a big layout, I'd build a big layout, because the bigger you build your layout, the wider curves you can have on it. You just get more area to work with, so that's always good. If you're a bit more limited of space, I would aim for a 4x8 layout. That's the most common size, and it's a great size because you can fit 22 radius curves on it, which is something I definitely recommend. But if you can't fit that, I would try to, if you can keep the 4 feet, because keeping the 22 radius curves, those are a big benefit. So yeah, try to, even if it's a 4x6, 4x7, whatever, just try to keep that 4 feet. That would be my advice. I mean, if you can make it even wider, that's better. You can put wider curves. Good deal. But that would be the number one piece of advice, I think, for building your first table. There's not a whole lot of rules for gaining supplies. I would say if you have multiple hobby shops in your area, check them all out and compare prices between things like track, because you will notice variances. But most reputable hobby shops, things that are in brand new condition, will be the same price, roughly. So that's one thing. You can buy track used, but it's something you have to be cautious with because, first of all, never buy switches used. Every time I've bought a switch used, 100% of the time, it's turned out to be trouble. So I just buy switches new. They're expensive, but buying them new pays off. But for buying track used, what you want to look out for is... sorry, this is just a bit distracting. Here, I'll see if I can actually show the different types of track. I don't know why this isn't working. I don't remember ever having a problem with this before. But it seems like there's some sort of issue with this coupler, which is weird. I guess we'll run something else. Anyway, quick thing for beginners buying used track if you decide to go that route. There are 3 different metals track are made out of, and you have to watch out because if you buy the wrong kind, it can be a pain in the neck. So here's the one. This is the most common one made today. It's nickel silver. It's very kind of light in color, and this is really a great type of metal to work with. It conducts electricity very well, and it's quite resistant to oxidization and stuff like that, which means you're not going to be cleaning your track as much. So you're going to have better performance, and it will be better. The next one is one that's commonly found used. It's brass track. It's okay. It does oxidize a fair bit quicker than the nickel silver, and you can identify it. It has a slightly darker color to it. It's still okay, and you can find this stuff dirt cheap, and provided you clean it properly, it can be okay. But for the most part, you want to go for the nickel silver. And then there's this last one. This is very easy to mistake with the nickel silver. They look practically identical, but it has a little bit more of a bluish tinge. I'll see if I can hold them up side by side. That way you can see. And you can see the top one there, that's the steel. That one's not as good quality. Steel track is very common in starter sets and stuff like that. Mostly want to avoid this stuff, especially if you're in a very humid place, because the moisture will just cause this to rust like crazy. And once it begins rusting, you're not getting it back. It's going away. So once again, going with the nickel silver is the best option. So anyway, that's my advice for, I guess, buying track again, or for getting started. I have way more, but those are all the things that immediately come to mind. Be careful buying flex track. Cannot be easy to lay down. Yeah, I would. If you're somebody getting into the hobby, I definitely wouldn't start off with flex track because cutting the track and soldering it and stuff like that is very difficult to work with right off the bat. Buy a snap track or its equivalent, just track that just clicks together, because it will be much easier to work with and will save you a lot of headaches. You can go to flex track in the future. It is more realistic, but for starting off, it can be very difficult to work with. Anyway, I'm not really sure what we should run. I guess we'll get the Sioux line engine out, get that going. I think there might be something else I was supposed to run. Might have slipped my mind, though. Have you ever done weathering on a locomotive? Well, actually, I did once. I'll show you the example. I'm no professional. I was kind of just playing around with it, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me just get this train running here. I weathered up this shell right here to give it a very kind of worn, sort of faded look. This is not great weathering, but basically what I did was I just took sort of a brownish black matte finish, and I just sprayed little spurts of it, spray paint, and it can give things a very kind of grimy or rusty look. But the most important thing is that you pick one with a matte finish, because if you get things that are new are usually shiny. Things that are kind of more decrepit, or rust is not shiny. It's got a very matte finish to it. So you want to use a matte paint. It will match it okay. And this, in my opinion, doesn't look bad weathering wise. Show me your favorite tanker car. I don't know where it is right. Oh yeah, okay, I see it. It's one. I'm sort of just nostalgic of it, but it's this little pipsqueak right here. I think might have been my dad who got me this. I can't entirely remember. I've had this car for a long time though, and I remember when I got it as a kid, just thinking it was the craziest thing, because all the other tankers I've seen out there, are the large ones. They're just having this tiny little chemical car. Thought that was interesting. If you run some switchers, yeah, sure. I was supposed to run the Hudson. That was it. Run your Bowser 630M. Sure, we could run that. I was also supposed to run the runaway train too. What models are the smallest you have besides your speeder? Can you run them? Yeah, sure. I'll run it before the other ones just because it's so easy. I think this is the smallest locomotive that I own. I forget what this thing is. It's a Whitcomb switcher. Found this for $5 at a train show. Die-cast metal. It's pretty nice. Yeah, this is probably the smallest engine I own. Putting speeders and stuff aside. It's not a new model. This thing is probably maybe 60 years old. And it was not running at all when I bought it, but it just needed to be rewired and cleaned. And once I did that, it's actually not too bad a runner. It stalls out sometimes, but it's only got 4 wheels to pick up power, and it's got the brass wheels. They oxidize, so can't expect it to be perfect. Also has no flywheel, so if it loses power, it pretty much stops. But for what I paid for it, it seems like a fine little engine. It can actually pull relatively well too, because it's die-cast, so the whole body has weight to it, so it's not bad. I liked it so much too, I built it this little section on the shelf. Anyway, I guess we'll get the Hudson out. I don't know if I want to grab that with one hand. That seems risky. Yeah, I'm not going to pull the cab off of that thing, trying to move it with one hand. What should I run first? I guess I'll run the Bowser first, because they're not too hard to access. Then I'll run the runaway train. Then I'll run the Hudson. Alright, so we'll get this off the main line. Get the Bowser on. And we should be in business. The gray ballast easy track is the best. I mean, in my opinion, I would just avoid easy track, because I don't find it lasts very long. I mean, I guess if you're just buying it to build a layout, it might be okay, but it's also expensive. But that is true. The kind with the gray road bed is better than the kind with the black road bed, because the kind with the black road bed is steel, which, as I talked about earlier, is not a good kind to work with. Yeah. My easy track got me through 10 years and still in good condition. Well, I'd assume you weren't taking it apart all that often, because in my case, I was taking it apart and putting it back together, and there were all sorts of problems. The road bed pretty much just started, I don't know, the plastic, it's almost like it dried out, and it became very brittle and would crack easily. It's been down here in the basement. It wasn't exposed to any sunlight or anything like that, so that's not very good. But the more important problem is that the rail joiners wear out, and that's not really a Bachmann problem. That's just a problem with the rail joiners. They're just not meant to be connected and disconnected, connected and disconnected. The metal just fatigues and eventually will not do its job anymore. So it's not a great design. Lifelike power lock track doesn't have any rail joiners, so you can take it apart and put it back together and you won't encounter those problems. So yeah, I didn't find it was a great kind of track. I mean, again, if you're just buying it and putting it on a layout, taking it apart only a couple times, it'll probably serve you okay. But for what, in my opinion, is its purpose, which is setting it up on the floor, taking it apart, putting it back together, it does not do a great job. I don't know what this is programmed to. It might be 3. Maybe not. Could be its road number. Uh, 4506. I had my lifelike power lock tracks get stuck. I never had that problem. I guess if it's sitting in one spot for a while, it might do that. But I guess it's not coming apart easily. At least it will last a while. So what was that? 4506, I think it was. See if it responds to that. Oh, I forgot to... Yeah, no wonder it didn't start. I bet it's still set to 3. Yep. Can you please run an SD40-2 locomotive? We already ran one, so I think we'll run some other equipment. Hey SMT, I have the same Digitrax controller as you. We are still building my layout, and I can't wait to use it. That's fun. It's a good controller. I find it's a bit of a learning curve, but there's a lot of possibilities with it. I guess I leave by SMT. Have a great night. Hope you have a better week than I'm having. Thanks for stopping by, Stephen Moore. Yeah, I need pliers to get the track apart. Huh. Never encountered that one before. I have easy track, one at a time, rail bent over to the right, causing a derailment. Yeah, I've had that problem too, rails disconnecting from the roadbed. It was only with one type though. Bachmann changed their roadbed because one of the sets I bought, the roadbed and the ties were one piece. They were molded as one bit and the rails were fit over top. I had the problem with the rails coming off on those ones, but not the one where basically it was like the roadbed and the actual track were kind of 2 separate pieces which were actually glued together. So I guess it just depends on what kind you got. Quite like the horn on that. Yeah, so much fun. Can you run the trolley on your main line? Yeah, why not? There we go, meeting regulations all the way. I don't know how it happened, but I had a piece of easy track and the rails got unroofed and half of them were just ripped up from the roadbed. I was so confused on how that happened. Again, I think it's I assume it's the older kind that happens on, where maybe something about the way that they fused the rails to the roadbed, or the ties, I should say, are just not good. Regulations are never fun. Yeah, you know what? This is going to be an evil railroad. We're not going to honk our horns at crossings. What brands do you use to replace the bands on a band drive locomotive? I don't know if this is the case for all hobby shops, but my local hobby shop actually sells genuine bands from Athearn, I guess from back in the day. Those work pretty well, but they do wear out. What I use on my engines are the little rainbow loom elastics. Every girl in 2010 had about 1 million of them, including my sister, so I just steal them away from her. But you can, I'm sure, find them at stores still. Can you please run the $3 Conrail locomotive? Sure. We'll run the switcher first, then the runaway train, and then eventually the Hudson. Merry Christmas, SMT. Can you please run the DCC Sound steam locomotive? I like your little tree by the shelves. Thank you. That was only $4 actually, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, we'll run it. There are a few more requests ahead of that though. Run the shady engine you got on Etsy. Okay. We'll run this whole lot first. Well, we'll get this off the main line. We'll get the runaway train on, and then we'll get some other stuff. Cyrus Gamer Minecraft, do you see me? Yes, I do. Sometimes I get messages from people after live streams saying their comments aren't seen. I don't know why, but for some reason there seems to be some sort of organizing system with comments. But if any of you out there are not getting your comments read, I promise I do try to read every single comment, but for some reason some of them get organized out, even when it's such a live chat, which in theory should be unbiased. But I never intentionally find somebody in the comments and say, oh, I feel like being a jerk today. I think I'm not going to read that person's comments. So yeah, just know it's nothing personal if your comments aren't getting read. Just weird chat algorithms. Don't know how they work. Don't know what happened there. Phoenix Smith, welcome. So we're now going to run the famous 1985 runaway train. And this is an interesting set. Remember the royal blue Tyco? Sure do. Still have mine. I need to fix it though because the power torque motor for the 4th or 5th time went out. Do some track drifting. I think I've had enough of that for now, at least until I get some sort of safety guard on this side of the layout, because it almost cost me my Centennial last time. Can you run the Canadian National 4100? I believe that's the 210-2, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, so it is. Can you do the Dash 9 and a grain consist? I don't have a whole lot of grain cars, and we already ran the Dash 9, so if you have something else, maybe we can run that. Can you run the Canadiana boxcar if you want to so badly? Sheesh. Canadiana boxcar. I guess, well, it's gonna kind of look weird, but I guess we could throw it on the back of this. I have to dig it up from the Tyco section of the shelf. All right, so we'll let this go around for just a moment, and then we will disconnect a Canadiana boxcar on the back. Do you have any Conrail units? Well, somebody wanted me to run the $3 locomotive, and that's a Conrail, so we can run that. Let me just look down here for Canadiana boxcar. I don't even know where it is exactly, but I'm gonna try to look. Found it. Wonderful. Did you ever get the Blue Goose running? It does run, it just needs to be tuned, which I still haven't done. Kevin Jenner Productions, welcome. All right. How did you get into model railroading as a hobby? So I've always been a train fan my entire life. And when my father was a youngster, he was into model trains. He had 5 engines, a whole bunch of rolling stock, and a layout. And in 2006, one night, he said, we were going over to my grandparents' house, and he said, I'm going to show you my model train collection. So we headed over there. We dug around, we found a bin, brought it out, and he showed me every single piece of equipment he had, and his brother had, because his brother also had some N-scale stuff. So went through all of that, and at the very end of it all, he said, you can take one home. And that was, I could find the exact engine, actually. A lifelike F unit of some sort. Where is it? It's this one right here. It's this lifelike Canadian National one. And I think that was probably in about November of 2006. Might have been earlier, maybe October. I don't exactly know, but sometime around then. And Christmas was right around the corner, and for that Christmas, I asked for a train set and got a lifelike set. So that's where it all began. Hey SMT, did you fix the O-scale layout? If so, can you run the frozen car on it? Well, funny you say, just this evening I actually tried to get this whole thing working again. I need to plug it in because I don't like to leave that controller plugged in unattended. I don't trust it enough. Let me just find somewhere to put my phone while I do this, because I don't want to be handling wires with one set of hands. There we go, I'll be right back. All right, got our controller plugged in, and we can run that. Unit's stuck. This was running fine. Just before the stream, I tested it because this gets requested fairly often. I don't know if maybe moving it a little will help. Yeah. Oh, come on, Lionel. I think we done it. Hey, SMT, what are some neat locomotives you think are, I don't know, the Hiawatha? Maybe that's about all. We should push that one. Also, the runaway train stopped as well, right at the same time. What a weird coincidence. Where do you keep all your rolling stock? In some drawers, all there. And on the layout. That's interesting. Well, I guess it's time to run the Canadian National Locomotive. What is your favorite engine of your collection? Probably the Hiawatha. I don't know. It's too tough to choose, honestly. I usually just say the Hiawatha because it's got so much history, but I don't know if I could really just pick one. What's your favorite? Okay, I already answered that one. Derailment. What was your first model? This is not it, but this is an identical model to it. It is this lifelike GP40, GP38, I don't know. Whatever those are. What kind of phone do you have? iPhone 6S Plus. It's a bit of an older one at this point. Over 5 years now, which is apparently double the age of most cell phones out there, which is kind of alarming that they're getting replaced that quickly. But it has a headphone jack, which is worth something. Okay, now to set up the Hudson. I'm going to put my phone down for this because I want to pick this thing up kind of carefully. How's the Hershey factory going? Well, I built the top part of the visitor's entrance, so there's that. Nothing other than that, but probably will get working on it soon enough. But that thing might soak up some time for a while. But yeah, let's get the Hudson rolling here. What is the strongest locomotive in your collection? I could be wrong, but there's this one model that I have. It's an old steam engine. The whole model is made out of lead, so it weighs a ton, and it's got a Varney 7-pole Lindsay supermotor in it. And that thing it's got some serious pulling capacity. Probably could pull 60 cars. It's not in perfect shape. It doesn't run perfectly. After I clean the wheels, it runs like a charm. It's just got the old brass wheels, so they oxidize. But it's a strong engine. 7-pole motor too. If I give that thing some neodymium magnets, I don't think any other engines would stand a chance against it. I think the Rapido engines could probably have a good run for their money too. Those things are pretty good pullers. SMT, my dad bought all of his tools home from work and gave me this lubrication pin that is perfect for my model trains. Oh, that's great. Run the shady engine you got on Etsy. Well, we'll run it. I'll have to run this one and a couple others first, though. And just subscribe. Thank you. Hey, could you run the SP Daylight train? The steam engine doesn't run really anymore. Do you have any DCC trains? Probably about 26 DCC engines. Oh, I forgot this. And that. Looks like we got a super chat. Let's have a look at that. This week in Civil War history, you talk about motors like my dad used to talk about fishing reels. They're a very important part of the model, and I mean a Varney Lindsay 7-pole. Like that's a model railroader's dream right there. A 7-pole motor. I don't know if there's any there. I'm sure there's probably at least one model out there where somebody stuck like a 9-pole in it or something crazy like that. But as far as I know, that's the one of the strongest motors out there. It might not be the strongest actually anymore, because if a modern 5-pole with neodymium magnets that's skew wound, it's probably stronger. But 7 poles, I mean, that's going to be some smooth performance, and it's skew wound. So yeah, it's pretty serious. SMT, can you run your trolley on the main line? I said I was going to do that earlier. I apologize. Do you have any Lionel HO? Some older stuff. Do you have any tips on newcomers? For newcomers? Well, if the question's for newcomers, build what you want. And what I mean by that is, if you want to build a particular scene and time and stuff like that, pick a time and a date and a location. If that's what you're getting into the hobby for, go ahead with it. But if you're not interested in that stuff, that's something a lot of people will suggest. Just don't. And yeah, I don't know. Build your layout the way you want it. Go through media and stuff like that, like old model railroading magazines, and you can look at real scenes and get inspiration, and then pour all that onto a list. Figure out how much space and budget you've got to build the whole thing, and make it a reality. SMT, how much would you think an 80-year-old Lionel engine before in American dollars? How much? I think the question is supposed to be how much do I think it would cost. I don't know, but 80 years ago, models were not as cheap as they are now, so they were probably something crazy like the equivalent of $500 or something. One of my grandmother's old Trix Twin Railway locomotives, I think I read somewhere the equivalent in today's money was something like $400. So they were not cheap. Chris Gare, I know I'm not pronouncing that last name right, but Michigan in the house. Chris and Dom, thank you so much for joining in. Do you own the Bachmann Rail Chief? I do. I had that set back in 2011. It's actually it was an all right set. The engine still runs fine. All the rolling stock was okay. I quite have fond memories of that set. If you could find one cheap, might not be a bad one to get into the hobby in, honestly. Why is your grandmother's Hiawatha DC and her Scotsman AC? I have no idea. It's really confusing. The Hiawatha and another River Rossi engine she had were both DC. And the other 3 engines she gave to me were AC. She had 5 or 6 more, but her brother has them. And so I know nothing about those engines, what exactly they were. But I've always wondered what exactly, if they had 2 different sets of track. She says she remembers the kind that had 3 rails. So I assume they were primarily running AC, but that wouldn't explain why they were running some DC equipment. It's very confusing. I have no idea. What was your first model train? I don't know if I answered this question earlier, but this was basically it. It's not this exact model, but well, it's the same model, just not the exact one. What are the dimensions of your main HO layout? It's just over 4 feet wide. I forget what it was in length. I think it was something like 72 inches. I don't know how many feet that is, but I don't know. Those numbers could be wrong. This is 8 feet long. I think this is 6.5. This is probably 1.5. So I don't know what that all adds up to. I know it's not a square number, I don't think, in terms of feet. How many GE locomotives do you have in total? How long did it take to repair the Acela after the derailment? I don't know how many GE engines I have in total. Maybe 7, just to take a guess. The Acela didn't take a crazy amount of time to fix. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did a video where I did the whole repair in once. The drive system and everything actually was all okay after that derailment. The only thing that was bad is, just the shell and all the little details, the lights and everything. Those had all popped out, but it was really just a matter of snapping all the parts back into place, so it really wasn't that bad. December 1st, 1852, the Pacific, a 462 became the first steam locomotive to operate west of the Mississippi River when it made its first run for the Pacific Missouri Railroad. Interesting. What's your fastest locomotive? It's either the RDC I was running earlier, or this little number right here, little rock. This thing's so fast. It's not even funny how fast it goes. Like here, actually I won't run it with this thing because it's gonna smash into the back of it. I'll quickly run this. There are some other things that have been requested, but I'll run it quickly. I mean, it won't even take long to run because frankly, it will make a lap around the layout so quickly. It wouldn't even take that much time. You should make your own business and hire, sell, etc. in the future. That would be really interesting. It's definitely a possibility. I'm going to tell everybody the truth. I don't know. Trying to decide a future is really a complicated thing. And working with the trains doesn't seem to be boring, so maybe I just need to go and work towards opening up a train store. Alright, so the Rock Island line. In the words of Johnny Cash, you gotta ride it like you find it. Oh, it's fantastic. There we go. Matt, New Haven Model Railroad. Just got my coffee and about to start driving shift. Have a good night, everyone. Tomorrow will be a whole year older. Oh, it'll be your birthday. Well, in advance, happy birthday. Thanks for stopping by, Matt. Don't go too fast. Don't want to end up like the Acela. Yeah, but this time we'll be ready. Run the Bachmann-Hershey engine. Well, there are some other requests that should get around to, such as the infamous $3 engine. Are you still doing framing work? Yeah, it never worked out. Tried to get a job in framing, but I'm in the province of Quebec. Speaking French is a very, important thing here, understandably, but education I had was complicated and I never learned, which is bad, but to a lot of employers, that's a big red flag. So, I don't know. They were telling me all sorts of things, like I needed carpenter certification and all this stuff. But my friend who works at this company, he was saying that they never asked him any of that questions, and he doesn't have any certification, and he's still got a job there. So I don't know if it was really about that, but I can't really blame him. So yeah, I gotta look somewhere else. That guy is right. You can't look up a model railroad guy in a phone book because phone books are gone too. Thanks for the super chat. Well, gotta go. Have a great night. What's the cheapest engine you have purchased? Well, I mean, I've purchased engines for pretty much like a buck each and stuff like that in totally junked shape. This is the cheapest one I actually got in working order, though. I mean, I had cleaned the wheels on this thing, and this thing cost $3. So this is probably one of the best deals I've got in terms of buying cheap engines. That engine does not sound good. It doesn't sound good, but mechanically this thing is actually solid. It's probably not going to break anytime. I don't think it probably really ever will break, provided I maintain it. They're very simple engines. Just got a really loud old motor, but I don't know. This thing is probably going to outlast most of my modern Bachmann engines. What does SMT stand for? Anything? It stands for Scrumptious Model Trains, which was the channel's original name. Pretty bizarre name, but it relates to something. Ant and Bruce, anyway, good evening. How's y'all's doing? I'm well. How are you? Okay, which brand is it? It's AHM. There was something I was supposed to run after that, and I've forgotten it. I don't know. Run either it will come back to mind, or I'll just run whatever somebody requests next. Lego trains are a blast because it's an easy, fun medium to build in. ASMT, whenever happened to see Nerf Kid, also have a good night. Take care, especially during this harsh pandemic. I also, before I go, can you please run your trolley on the main line? Well, we already did it, but it's not that difficult to do, so we'll do it again. Do you have any VIA trains? Oh yeah, probably about five different VIA engines. Run the shady engine you got from Etsy. Yeah, sure, we can do that. Just have to find the unit there. I thought I cleaned up the basement earlier. I remember putting it on the shelf. Here it is. Do you have any of the old Tyco action accessories? Not in... I don't think I have any of the buildings, but I got two Tyco Chug Chug box cars. Those are pretty fun. SMT should get a geared locomotive at some point. That would be interesting. If you could guess, how much do you think you've spent on model trains? I have no idea. I might be alarmed at whatever number it is. But it's a fun hobby. I mean, there are way more responsible things you could be spending money on, which is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is there are much worse things to be spending money on, and frankly, I know plenty of people my age buying much worse things than trains with money. So, you know, it's a 50-50 in terms of responsible purchasing. You don't really depreciate, though. I mean, if ever I wanted to sell some of this stuff, I'm pretty sure I could get exactly or even more, because most of the stuff I buy is in junked shape anyway, and I fix it up. So most of it's probably worth more than I sunk into it first. Hey, SMT, love your channel. It's been very inspiring to keep me and my older, cheaper stuff running. I'm very happy to hear that. That's what it's about. Getting well, I mean, you buy some new stuff on this channel, but for the most part, it's working with the older equipment. Some of the best. SMT can spend his money on trains. He isn't married. If he was, I know his wife might put a stop to that. Hey, SMT, have a good night. Once again, take care. Thank you so much for stopping by, Stefan Menzies. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. How many River Rossies do you have? Probably about 10, maybe more, 15 River Rossi engines. Got any Canadian National engines? Might be the most common railroad in the collection. Matter of fact, the engine running right now is CN. You run the Canadian National 4100. You know what? That was requested earlier too. We'll run it right away. SMT, you should host a contest on who has the coolest Christmas tree train. Well, that's pretty much what the Christmas display contest will be. I mean, it doesn't even... a train around a tree is enough to be a Christmas display. So even if you just set up a train around your tree, if you want to upload a video on that and add it to the contest, it's totally welcome. SMT, run any steamer with a Chug Chug boxcar. Well, somebody wanted me to run the 210-2, and I'm sure we can run that with a Chug Chug boxcar. Well, yeah, here's the Chug Chug. This is the electronic one. I have two. I guess we could double them up, and it might make a weird effect, but maybe they'll be kind of symbiotic, and we'll get like double the sound or something. I don't know. It will be interesting. So here we have the slightly more archaic design, which is pretty much just a tumble design with some stones in it. And that makes a chug sound as it goes around. I'll show how they both work. So that's your older chug. And then this is the more electronic, modern version. Well, they actually are pretty much at the same rate, which is impressive. They timed that well. Now just need the steam locomotive and we will be in business. Baby reef car, yeah! What is the least common railroad you have? Can you run the LRC with the LRC coaches? Sure. Least common railroad? It would probably be something obscure, like a short line. I only own one Quebec and Gatineau, and no, it's not true. I've got I've got an N-scale one. So some obscure short line, probably. One RFMP engine, that's one. Although the RFMP might not be an obscure short line, because every time I run that one, I have a fair amount of people saying, that's the train that used to operate around where I am. The BNO sounds much better. It's a bit of a better design, but I don't know. You got to give Tycho credit. That's pretty creative. What do you get if you win the Christmas contest? You get a steam locomotive. That one in particular. Okay. Do you have anything related to the Milwaukee, Ranson, and Troy? I haven't even heard of that railroad before, so I can't say to you. Do you have a Union Pacific ES44AC? None in this collection. Lionel made the Chuff Chuff tender, which they probably no longer make. Don't know. I really like the sound boxcar. It does kind of sound like chuffing. It also kind of just sounds like somebody like whacking a hammer on the lid of a trash can. Can you hear it? How do you join the Christmas giveaway? You have to make a contrast. It's not open yet, so nobody can enter yet. But basically, people have to enter your Christmas display. If you have a train around your tree or you make a Christmas layout, you enter that, and that's what you get. Me competing in the contest. Me wins the train. Mom, where did this train come from? Me? I won a thing. That's Model Railroaders Railroad. It's called the MRYT. Do you have any F59 PHI locomotives? Don't think so. Good night from America. Oh. Do you have any vintage? Well, it depends how vintage of vintage you're talking about, but we got this thing from the 50s or something around those times. And this thing, probably also from the 50s or 60s. I don't know. There's a few older ones. That one might be from the 40s or 50s. Most of these are 30 plus years old. Okay, oh, we got a short. A Mahano engine derailing. What kind of world is this? Can you double head the locomotives on the train? Well, we can try to get the other 210-2 going with it, but it didn't go so great last time. Okay. If you run the AEC Hustler, that one doesn't get requested very much. Sure, we'll try to double head the engines, and then we'll run the Hershey engine, and then we'll try to do that. Now, where is the other 210-2? That's the question. It's back there. This might be difficult to access. All right. When do you think you'll start the contest? Well, I was hoping to start it over Thanksgiving, but timing just didn't work out on that. Probably quite soon. Last year it was started on December 12th. I'm going to try to start it before then, but I don't really like to set deadlines because time is a very unpredictable thing in this house. So I don't want to say, oh, it's going to be done on this date only to find out something's happening and then I can't get the video done in time, and then a whole bunch of people who are waiting for it get disappointed because they were promised a certain date and it wasn't delivered. Run the MASH. I don't have the a MASH engine. That one that I fixed on this channel belongs to Mark of M&M Rails. Go check out his channel. That did not sound good. Not again. I don't know what's going on with this coupler. How's the Hershey factory going? Not much has changed on it. Wow, someone got a shout out without SMT asking for the sub amount. That's special. Well, the regulations are the regulations, but if there's a channel that I personally find very entertaining and I want to give them a shout out, there's nothing wrong with that. When you open the contest, how do I send my layout for Christmas? Film a video on it, and there'll be a certain hashtag. I'll explain all this when the contest starts. Shoe Scientist 123, can you please run the Santa Fe 4015 engine I sent you? Santa Fe 4015 engine. I'm sure I recognize the engine by how it looks, but I'm not great with remembering numbers on locomotives, so I don't know which engine that is. I'm trying to think here. Isn't that U-boat, is it? No, that was from Tycho's F units are numbered 45, 15. It might be that. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know if that one ever got restored, though. Yeah, I don't think it runs yet. We can try to run it. I just don't know if it's gonna start. Sounds like something's derailed. I don't know. Maybe that's enough of the chug car. Do you know Sierra Locomotive number 3? Rings a bell. Not sure which one it is. What is a good starter set? Don't really know any in particular. My advice is really just to buy the cheapest one you can, and with the money you save buying a cheaper train set, buy an extra locomotive. Like if you want to buy a new one, buy like a Walters train line. You can find those fairly cheap. Some websites you can still buy old model power engines. Those are good too. And as far as used stuff goes, buy like Athearn Blue Box and things like that. I'll show what the Athearn Blue Box stuff looks like though, because the thing about it is that when you're buying something new, I can say makes, and if somebody wants to search for that, they can find it. But for buying used engines, you need to know what the engine actually looks like. And all Athearn Blue Box engines have this in common. They got these white dots on the bottom. Those are the motor mounts. And here's a different Athearn Blue Box. Has the same dots. They all have that. Even the here, like this is an Athearn Blue Box. This one only has 2, but so you just look for those, and they're very good engines. They're very easy to identify because of that. So that's what I'd suggest to any beginners. Anyway, I guess we'll try to run this thing. I don't think it's gonna start because it needs restoration, but yeah, I'll try it. Rain on VR. Cheers, love your restoration videos. Love the knowledge you have for this hobby. It's very inspiring. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Oh, it does run. Okay. It doesn't have a coupler, so I can't hook many cars, but I'll let that run. Yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. And as I say, for all super chats, or at least I try to, Serenity. This thing's running great. Do you have any GE-8s or GE-7s? Might have a -8. Certainly have a -9. SMT, can you take off the broken B&O shell and put the B&O shell on a working chassis, please? I want to see it run. The broken B&O shell. I don't know where that is. Maybe you mean the broken... Oh, yeah, the broken B&O. Look, that thing runs. It just needs new bands. I was supposed to run the Hershey engine and also the LRC, right? Okay, we'll run the Hershey engine here. All right. Hey SMT, fun fact, the RFMP is known as the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac Railroad. You could run it. Also, should I change my profile pic to a Bachmann logo just for you? That's okay. Can you run the rail, Chief? Sure. Weird. How many Hershey cars do you have? 5. Do you have any signals like the Norris 462, Midlands, Spinner, LBSCs, instant lights? Well, we got whatever those are. So, Krell, welcome to the live stream. SMT, how's your night going? It's good. How's yours? DeFox, have a good live stream. Thank you. Have a great night. I'm back, but don't tell my mom. SMT, can you run a mixed freight and make it long with a UPNSC and its heritage unit? I don't have any heritage units from them. I can stick these 4 freight cars on the back of this number, though. SMT, how did you come up with your layout? It sort of just evolved into what it is today. It started with this section right here. This was just a track plan off the net, so we found that, bought the track, and put that together. So that was circa 2007 or whatever it was. The second one, I actually did design this back in 2012. It just kind of comprised of what I was looking. Pretty much all the stuff that I didn't have in this layout went into this one. So I always wanted a freight yard. This one didn't have a freight yard. This one only had 1 set of tracks. I wanted 2 sets of tracks. So this one pretty much fulfilled all the other things I wanted in a layout. And yeah, I just wanted 2 tracks and a freight yard. And then there were some other things added to it, but that was the primary focus of that one. The third layout's a whole other story, but that one's a little more complicated. Can you run a GG1? That sounds interesting. There was something I was supposed to run first, though. We've already run the Hershey engine. There is the LRC, so we'll run that, I guess. I need to find the LRC cars, too, though. Do you recommend buying the Rail Chief? Because I'm thinking of buying one from Hobby Lobby for a great deal. If it's a great deal and you're interested in getting in the hobby, I think the Rail Chief sets are not too expensive. If it's a good price and you're not paying a whole lot for it, go for it, I would say. If it's something that you want. Obviously, that should be the primary thing, is that you actually want it. But yeah, I don't know. I was happy with my set. I'm not a big fan of Bachmann. But they're the only ones making the cheapest train sets out there right now. They're not the greatest value, but they're still the cheapest. And the really dirt cheap ones are actually, for what you get, they're not that bad. You can do better, but they're a good starter. It's those really kind of extensive train sets that have fancy, or like a big steam engine and a whole bunch of rolling stock. Those are the ones that I would avoid. He doesn't have an E2. Like this? Pretty sure that's an E2. If somebody wants to see that thing run, can be. Do you have any Lionel HO trains? A few of them. I'll dig a couple of them out, actually. Some of them are not that exciting. They're just because HO Lionel, a lot of it was Bachmann. The older HO Lionel stuff, though, is actually interesting, and it has kind of a unique drive system in it. I got one, so I really like this engine, actually. It's a Pennsylvania one. I found it in the junk section of a hobby shop while I was in Florida. So this, yeah, right here is an old Lionel. It's sort of bizarre how it works. You got a drive system down here, which is connected through a pulley to a motor up here. Yeah, it's got a big old light. I'm pretty sure they used pretty much the same sort of bulb they were using for their O-scale stuff, so this is not a very efficient engine, but these were well-built models. I've got a couple of those, a couple more Lionel HOs. One of them I just remembered I was supposed to run, actually. Sounds like something's derailing, but actually I'm going to stop that. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, where the heck is it? I don't know where the atomic one is, but we got this one right here. And it's also a old Lionel. Perth Rail fan, welcome. UP guy 5180. Notice me, senpai. People are still saying that. I thought that meme was long gone. I was talking about the E2 Thomas the Tank. Oh, that. So here's another old Lionel. This is actually running a bit better than I recall. Do not notice me, senpai. That's more like it. That's the original comment. Hey SMT, hope things are good up in Canada. I was wondering if you could please run the Southern Sea Liner. Yeah, sure. Jack, welcome. So there's that. I'm curious where that... Oh, yeah, it's back here. Yeah, somebody requested this earlier. Yeah, it's a atomic energy locomotive. It's got the exact same drive system as the last one I just ran. Three-pole motor. Picked it up real cheap, and yeah, it does its job. It was only like $10, so you really can't balk at it. It's actually running pretty well, which is nice. Both of them are running better than I recall. UP Guy 5180. Hello, SMT. I'm back. How are you on this fine evening? I'm well. How are you? Hey, SMT. What's your oldest locomotive and what's your oldest running locomotive? So for oldest locomotive, I got this kind of strange German one. It might be the oldest. Again, I don't know exactly which is my oldest locomotive. But that thing could be from the late 40s, so that's possibly the oldest one. The oldest running one is either this model right here, which could be from the late 40s or early 50s, or the Hiawatha, which the Hiawatha is the only one where I actually know what year it was from, because when I rebuilt it, it required a certain chassis, which was built in a certain year. So that might be, that's a 1951 Rivarossi Hiawatha right there. But, yeah, other than that, I don't know. Caden Christensen. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Anyway, hey SMT, just stopping by. Keep up the great work. Also, can you do realistic operations in the future? Thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe as things return at the Model Railroading Club, I may make some videos about that, but I don't know. For the most part, things are just not... It's not a railroad which is necessarily meant to be super realistic. It's more about just, I don't know, messing around with some model trains and having fun. I mean, I'm running TGV trains from France and layout which is supposed to take place in Ontario in 2007. There's not even any overhead lines, but it's all just for fun. What's your most powerful train? Well, I was talking about it earlier. It's... let me see if I don't even know where I put it. Yeah, forgot where I put it. It's a steam engine with a 7-pole motor. Ooh, got another super chat. Thank you so much, Billy737, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Hey, SMT, how's it going? Just quick dropping in. How much do different switches cost, and how reliable are used switches? Earlier in the live stream, I was talking about how I suggested not to buy used switches, because every single time I have bought used switches, no matter how much I've inspected them to try to look for problems, 100% of the time they've had some sort of an issue. So I bought these two switches used. They look to be in perfect condition. Things keep getting caught on them, so they're not in good shape. I bought this switch used, but the joke was kind of on me, because it turns out it needs to be wired a certain way, and it will actually short, and stuff started derailing on this recently. And a lot of the switches on this layout are used, and I've had a lot of problems with them. So you have to buy them new, really, in my books, if you want something reliable. The only thing which is really unfortunate is they also happen to be the most expensive piece of track. Most switches go for between 25 and 30 Canadian dollars. But yeah, I don't know. It's either you do that, or I find you just end up replacing it with a new switch in the future anyway. PRR class S2 SMT, I feel really happy when you read my chats. I'm happy to hear that. I do try to read everybody's chats. I know I miss some of them, but there's also algorithms and stuff which sort those out. But I promise everybody I never intentionally ignore people's comments. Hello SMT, can you run a Bachmann Chef Boyardee Bucks car? Also, congratulations on 20,000 subscribers. I would run the Chef Boyardee Bucks car if I had one. Which I don't, but it would be fun. If ever I find one at a train show at a good price, definitely buy it. Are you DC or DCC? For the most part, DC. A lot of the engines are DC, like probably 90% of them. But DCC still does hold a place on the layout. I have a DCC controller and a system to actually switch between whichever kind of power I want to use, and roughly 25 DCC locomotives. So there's plenty of DCC equipment. Kevin Jenner Productions, I will get the Chef Boyardee boxcar first. Well, we'll see. I don't know. There haven't been many train shows, so the odds of finding one are probably not that high. Did you run the England steam train with cars yet? I haven't, although for all the UK viewers out there, you might be happy to find out. The other day I decided to tackle a whole bunch of broken engines in here, including this one, which I think earlier, yeah, it was probably earlier this year. This one just stopped and just started smoking like crazy, so I took it apart. It turned out the commutator just needed to be cleaned, and right after I did that, gave it some oil, and it actually runs really well. It just had a dirty commutator. I'm amazed with the amount of smoke coming out of there. The commutator wasn't destroyed, but yeah, it's even operating well. Yeah, the flanges are, because this is a 00 gauge model, 00 scale, I should say. The flanges get a bit caught on certain things, but you saw for a second there, that thing was drawing about 1/4 of an amp, so it's even moderately efficient. Train show this weekend. I'm excited. Anything I should look out for you? Oh, no. Glad got a train show going on, though. That's fun. I don't think there are going to be any of those up here for a while. Hopefully next year. Wow, this thing's running like hyper efficient now. That's pretty good for an engine of its age. This wasn't having so many derailment problems last time when I was testing it, though. That's kind of weird. But in any case, there's that. Can you please tell me what your most powerful train is? I already answered that question earlier. It's an outdoor train show. That's smart. I wish they'd host one. Well, I was gonna say I wish they'd host one of those here, but it might be kind of difficult with the cold. Having said that, though, I mean, conditions in Pennsylvania are usually kind of similar as far as I know. So I guess it would really depend more on the day. SMT, sorry I can't watch the rest, but I love your vids, and I want you to do whatever you love, model, train, railroading. Hope you reach 50K subscribers. Thank you so much, Tyson Clark. I really do appreciate that. Comments like that do mean a lot. Hey, SMT, can you run different tracks? We can run something on that layout if you want. Can you please run a Tyco Mantua steam engine? A Tyco Mantua steam engine. I guess we can try to run this. Not the Bachmann one here, but the one behind it. This doesn't run great as I remember, just because it is actually missing a traction tire. It might derail actually, but we'll try. Hey, SMT, I made a big boy steam locomotive in Minecraft. Nice. Gamer777, bye, stay safe. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sawyer Nelson, you're the best. Love your videos. Thank you. Alright, let's try to run this thing. Don't think this is actually really going to work, honestly, but we'll try it. It's trying to go. This thing may need maintenance, I don't know. It's not pulling too many amps, but... Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, this thing's just got electrical issues. Seems like it's weird because it keeps sparking. It seems like it's arcing, but the amps are not going up on because this controller also reads out amps, which is weird because if it were shorting, the amp meter would be spiking. So that's weird. Harrison, you might want to remove that spike from across the tracks. I don't think it's actually shorting it though, because look, if that thing was shorting the track, the current draw would be right up there. So that's not the problem. So I don't really know what it is. I think this engine just doesn't pick up power very well. Where can we get a controller like that? I don't know if they make them anymore. You can find them. I've seen them at train shows before, going for about $70. In Florida, too, there were two different train stores I visited, both that had them. One was going for $70. The other was $35, which was really a great deal for one of these controllers. I paid a crazy amount. I paid like, I don't know, $150 for this one because it was brand new, but I didn't really know what these things were worth. It is in very good shape. But if you want a basic DC controller, something like this will serve you fine. I mean, they're all right controllers. I just didn't like this as much just because they're apparently with more modern DC engines, which have more sensitive electrical components. They apparently cause voltage spikes and destroy the DC decoders in them. Or not even the decoders, but the whole circuit board. So that's not good. Those are worth a couple $100. So I wanted something a little better. But this controller has really been great because just this little bit of information, how much power you're putting in and how many amps it's drawing, can tell you so much about any engine you're working on. So if you work on a lot of engines, buy one of those. It will be great. Go VR, go home. Welcome to the live stream. How are you? Run the Gandy Dancer. Sure, we can run that. Any of the new N-scale trains running yet? Haven't touched one of them yet, but there'll probably be some videos on that soon. I just want to get, because a fair amount of people have sent in engines to repair. I want to get those done first, because the engines that I own that are broken, there's no rush to get them done, but if somebody's actually waiting for theirs to get done, there's a little more rush too. Nick the Trainer, it's still glad with that one to test out my DC models. Very reliable for $10 from the OVR flea market. Nick, I remember when you found that thing at the show. I couldn't believe you found one for $10. What a deal. So there you go. If you're looking for one of those controllers, all you have to do is become Nick the Trainer and go to a flea market. You'll find one. Can you run the Hornby Triang R55? Sure, we can try to run it. I don't know if it actually will, but hey, we'll try it. Now that I think about it, that R55 probably has the same commutator problem that the other Hornby Triang does. Seems to be a more common problem than originally thought. The question is, where is that engine being stored? Because there's a whole variety of places it might be on here. Let me just have a look here. I don't think it's on the top shelf. Doesn't appear to be on this one. Not seeing it there either. Where the heck is it? Oh. There it is. This is such a strange looking model. I can't say I don't like how weird it is, though. Do you have a silver streak? No, well, we got the Tyco ones. I don't know if there's any that are working at the moment, though. Okay, Hornby Triang, prove your quality. Yeah, it does run. Even kind of good. Well, I guess I shouldn't have doubted the power of Hornby Triang. Oh, I'm pretty sure I remember this thing having a light, and well, maybe, I guess it is. Okay, never mind, the light is working. I thought it had burned out. It's just not very bright. Here comes the weirdest locomotive of them all. Wow, it's really taking power well. It's pretty good speed for the amount of power, 50%. That's full out right there. Pretty good. Yeah, we'll bring it back down just below 12 volts, just to not overheat the commutator. Seems like a pretty efficient speed, honestly. Hey, SMT, do you have any winter equipment cars like snowplows slash snowblowers? No snowblowers, but I do have a snowplow, which has actually worked in real snow, which is interesting. It's this one. Might have to... Something... I don't know if I dropped this at some point and it split the wood, but I noticed there actually is part of it missing there, so I'm going to have to fill that in with some Bondo or something. I don't know. Any update on the side project? Well, everybody in the chat, I'm going to give Chris of Go VR Go Home here some credit because he has given me information on this, which means the project's going to go ahead. Basically, I'm building a layout for a youngster who's a family friend and needed some advice on actually getting the cork on here. So, yeah, soon enough, we should be building a new layout. So that'll be fun. And I got a crap load of cork right there. Lol, no, it's a secret. Well, it's a secret to the people that don't watch the live streams. I don't know. The people that watch the live streams, I don't know. There's probably like maybe 70% of the people that watch this channel that don't watch these live streams. So there's a good portion of people that don't know about it. So everybody watching this right now, stay hush-hush on that secret, apparently. SMT, you should buy Road Champs. Plus, it works great on your layout. Mike Muritz, how are you? My wife and I miss going to train shows. Yeah, train show days. SMT, how do we mail you stuff? You just send it to this address right here. Take a screenshot or what have you of that, and yeah, it should work. Some people have problems with it saying SMT mainline. If you do, just say Harrison SMT mainline or something like that. Because I don't know, post people, I don't know, they don't like company names or something. They want it to be a personal name. It's kind of confusing. Hey, SMT mainline, I was wondering if you fix new and vintage trains. I have a few locomotives and a bunch of train cars that need work. All the hobby stores in my area said they don't have the parts. I'm not doing any repairs for people at the moment because when I was, there was a fair amount of stuff coming in there, and frankly, I've fallen behind. There were things which were sent in back in August, which I still haven't even opened up yet, so can't. I don't want to take on more when I haven't even got that done. If it's stuff that needs replacement parts, though, I don't think I could really help you with that in the first place, though, just because if I have the parts on hand, I'll replace them, but I don't want to go outsourcing parts because that gets very complicated quickly. It's also super expensive too because most parts on eBay, they're one of a kind. You know, there's that one specific part that you need, and the sellers know that you really want that part. Maybe it's for an engine that you really like, so they will charge whatever they like for it. And you're going to be paying like, I don't know, $20 for some new brushes. It's crazy what they try to get people to pay on there. Hey, SMT, have you ever been to the Thousand Islands? Yeah, I have. A friend of my dad's has a cottage up there and a boat, and we usually go boating around there. It's a great, wonderful place to be. Are you considering getting Norfolk and Western 2882? I wasn't planning on that one, honestly. McMurrids, I'm doing well, thanks. Harrison, just super busy with work. Otherwise, I would come and visit more often. Well, thanks for joining when you can. I do appreciate it. Glad things are going well. I paid $14.99 for an Athearn armature shaft part. An armature shaft part? Like a new armature? SMT, can you run the big boy? I wish I could, but it's currently out of commission as one of the rods on the side just... Well, whatever screw or whatnot was holding it in, it evidently popped out somewhere, and I have yet to find it. It's got to be along the... I hope it's on the track. I hope it didn't fall out when I picked it up, otherwise I'm in way more trouble. Any good places to buy model train supplies? Train shows will always be the cheapest, and I mean, there are some sellers at train shows who try to rip people off, but generally train shows will always be the cheapest. A lot of people say the internet's putting hobby shops out of business because they're more competitive, but I'll tell you the truth, most of the time when I've compared prices between hobby shops and the internet, most of the time the sellers online, especially when you factor in shipping, are charging more for whatever it is you want to buy. Now, it might not be entirely fair because obviously if you're paying for shipping, it gets delivered to you versus a hobby shop you actually have to drive to, which takes time and energy. But, I don't know. Usually I think it's cheaper. Plus, getting to go to a hobby shop is fun, so it's not really a waste of time or energy if you enjoy it. Sparky, welcome. How are you? By the way, Sparky, I don't know if things are still go for tomorrow, but if they are, I'm very excited. Doing good, sir. Glad to hear that. Do you have any really neat cabooses? Well, I got this one, which is sort of interesting. Little bobber. And I also have this one, which seems to be sort of one of a kind. I think this one's actually a Mahano. I sent you an email and an FB message, so I haven't checked my email, but if you're a go, I sure am. What are you and Sparky planning? I don't know if it's supposed to be a surprise or not, so I'm not going to say nothing, but... Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. Besides your local hobby shop, will have much better customer service than the online big box retailers. I found that these people really love trains and keeping their customers happy. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. People don't open a train store to make a lot of money. There are much more, there are much better ways if you wanted to get rich. So, when they open these stores, it's because they're passionate about the hobby. I think which says something about how seriously, they're going to take their customer service. They know what they're working with very well. There's a really good train shop in Gettysburg, PA. Yeah, I mean, it's not to say there are no bad hobby shops out there. I've been to some which, are not that impressive, but for the most part, they're all, I don't know, you go in there and you get to look through all the stuff, and people are usually very friendly, and they take the hobby very seriously. You can say it. Okay, Sparky has given me permission. About 2 weeks ago, Sparky sent me a message asking if I wanted to go on his Wednesday night live chat. And so, yeah, it looks like that's going to be happening. So if you guys don't know, Sparky every Wednesday, I believe it's at 7, right on the nose, Eastern Standard Time, between 7 and 8, does a live stream. And recently he's been having some guests on. And I might be the next one tomorrow. So go over to his channel and subscribe and whatnot if you want to see that. I'm sure a lot of you in the chat already know who Sparky is. Quite an active member in the community. What do you like to do when you're not playing with trains? Either it's taking care of stuff that I need to take care of, chores around the house and other tasks, and searching for jobs. And when it's nice out, mess around with the boat, go clean it and stuff. Someone else who preoccupies a lot of my time, but I'll stay lightly on that. A visit from Sparky or starring in one of his live shows. Well, being is one of his live shows. Does anyone know what bloody nose that engine is? I don't know. It's a Train Master Diesel, if that helps. SMT will be interviewed me on my channel Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there you have it, folks. I got the comment right there. Go take that name, copy it, put it in the URL, or YouTube search bar, and yeah. But like I said, I suspect most people already are Sparky subscribers. Next time, can you make a live restoration video? Yeah, we can do one of those again. The only thing that I find as sort of a pain in the neck, I assume for the viewers, is that usually when I'm doing a restoration, I drop something on the floor and I have to spend like 20 minutes looking for whatever it is, which I don't think is very entertaining for people watching. Can you run your Indiana locomotive? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's get it out. There is a place called the train station. It's so cool there, but the trains nowadays are always expensive. Yeah, I find that's the case with a lot of hobby shops. I still find they're cheaper than the internet, though. The internet, almost everything on eBay, I find is like quite high. Meet the live streamer series I'm doing. Oh, it's a new division. SMT has one of the best live streams, so I had to get him on. Thanks, Sparky. I appreciate that. I don't know if I have one of the best live streams. I mean, I would say in comparison to most other people in the community, these are very laid back, but Yeah, it's all about having fun, right? I hope you can all come and watch. I'll put SMT on the hot seat. The hot seat, uh-oh. SMT, you need to fix up your show. You've got lamps taped to the ceiling. And with some of his free time, he does have a girlfriend, you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she, it's usually Wednesdays, you know, so it's going to, probably be upstairs. Is that your junk pile? I don't know what like the layout? That thing sounds like it's all of a sudden revving through the roof. SMT, if you ever got to Columbus, Ohio for whatever reason, got to the train station, it's a great place and amazing trains. Remember Columbus, Ohio. Sounds like an interesting place to visit. Hey SMT, I want to build an HO layout, but I am doing it from a photo. It's hard to tell what track I need based on the photo. You're talking about the gauge of the thickness of the rail? I remember when I went to trains by Johnson. Unfortunately, the original owner passed away from natural causes. If you want to visit, it's in Pensacola, Florida. I see the table you're working for. Someone, if you feel like building layouts, don't let them say you can't build as many as you want because you love doing it. Exactly. Blowing the horn at the railroad crossing. All right. We need to see a big boy versus DD40X tug of war once the big boy is fixed. Honestly, I think the Centennial would probably win it just because it's got weight. It's also got a 5-pole motor versus the big boy, which only has a 3-pole. Now that its big boy's got a massive gear reduction on it. It does have some torque to it, but it's not a very heavy engine actually, at least not the Rivarossi models. Any CSX, Norfolk Southern, BNSF, or Amtrak. Yeah, I think they've got one of all three of those. Do you have an elf on a shelf? When I was a kid, I had something similar to that. Me and my sister had these two elves, which would cause trouble around the house. Great memories. SMT is the plan for the Hershey factory to be able to do switching on it. Yep, it sure is. It's going to be a switching yard which will match the real one found on the factory. We've already got track allocated to that, actually. So that'll be fun. In Canada, everything is just syrup. Yep. Maple land. SMT, do you put syrup on bacon? Of course. And optimally, you want the bacon already be maple bacon. In fact, the best thing to do, if you're frying up some bacon, the very end, if you want to get some, it's different from conventional bacon, but this is what you want to do. The very last bit of cooking up the bacon, once most of the fat is gone, you spray some maple syrup over the top. You just pour it over the top. The bacon, the syrup will cook very fast, but if you do it right, you can actually caramelize the maple syrup onto the bacon, and you get this sort of maple bacon candy, and it's absolutely delicious. Right now, everything in Canada is white. Well, I don't know. It seems to be more of a permanent gray, but yeah, I don't know. The last few days it's just been kind of like clouds and rain. Who doesn't put syrup on bacon? It'd be too salty without it. Portland Rail fan, thanks for liking my comment. Oh, no problem. Christian K 2008, what track do you use? Also, can you please show the backside of the mountain on your second layout? I'd take a pic for my layout. The back of the mountain on the second layout. Well, here it is from the front. Unless you're talking about that one. Yeah, there's something about this. It's warm in Alberta. Yeah, it's been kind of warm here too. A couple degrees out. So here's this mountain. It's not that great. It looks way better in my opinion. Get some foam on here. You kind of finish it up. Aside from the big boy, do you have any other articulated locomotives that catch your interest? Well, I'm currently on the hunt for some parts to build a Yellowstone. In Ohio, we currently have about 10 inches of snow. That's more than we have here. Can you run the GO train with the GO coaches? Sure, I think that'll probably be like final train of the night too, because it's almost 11. Do you like hockey? Personally, not much into sports, but in Canada, hockey is very important. So you gotta have a favorite, even if you're not into sports. You gotta at least have a, like a favorite hockey team. Mine's the Ottawa Senators, and when it's the Olympics there and stuff like that, you gotta be part of it. I mean, back in 2010, oh man, that was quite a year for that. You take part in it, and I played it a little bit. Not anything serious, but you get yourself a frozen pond there, and you clear it off and throw a puck on there, and it's fun. Like your French flag, yeah, thanks. Got 2 of them now. I bought a second one for the last Saint Jean Baptiste Day, which is a pretty big deal in Quebec. out here in Quebec. Gotta have your... Yeah, I bought one for my boat too, so I can have a Canadian flag on one side and a Quebec flag on the other. I did find it funny though, because at the store they were selling them and the Quebec flag is a little bit larger than the Canadian one. Same manufacturer, which is sort of interesting. SMT, what are future plans with the speeder? Well, COVID sort of threw a bit of a wrench into that whole thing because the plan, I'll reveal it now because it kind of got foiled. Last year, when me and my rail buddies, we were all up there, there was this guy and he had a speeder up there. And we talked to him and he said that we could have it. So our plan was like, great, we got a actual speeder. We'll buy a, 5 horsepower engine and a sprocket and all the rest of it, and we'll throw that on there and we'll have a real speeder, and this is going to be great. So that was all the plan. We bought the engine, which is actually right there, but due to COVID we haven't been able to meet up and stuff like that, so it sort of just went by the wayside, and here we are at the end of the almost at the end of the year and nothing ever happened with it. So that's that. The current speeder I have, I mean, I like it, but it didn't, it works, but it doesn't work as good as it could because the wheels are very small. The seller said that they were basically double the size, and when I received them, they were half the size of what they were stated to be, and I couldn't return them because I had bought them out of like the warehouse or whatever. They were kind of like junked. But since they're so small, if the track changes in size, is a bit out of gauge, it will derail. So I could try to keep running that one, or just wait. Hopefully COVID will eventually go away and me and my train buddies can resume operations in Wakefield. But yeah, for now, that's pretty much it. I haven't run the last time I ran the speeder was for my birthday back in April. We took it out there. Took it on a really short run. I think we probably went like, I don't know, 500 feet on it. The first time going on that with the whole family though, because there was nothing else we could do at the time. Everything was in lockdown. And the cops actually did show up too for that. They didn't care about the speeder, but they were, because we had to take 2 cars to get the speeder there. The cops pulled over because they thought that we were people from separate households meeting up. And yeah, they were very nice though. It was all right, so all's well that ends well with that. I've got a Broadway limited cab forward. Christian K 2008, thanks for stopping by. What is a speeder as a Dutchie? I never heard of that. It's a, there's tons of different names. Rail jigger, Gandy dancer, a whole bunch of... If you watch the, like the Wile E. Coyote cartoons back in the day, you know, the thing that they're, pumping there to get away from the train, that's a speeder. Sparky, what is your favorite what? Yay, the GO train. I should stop asking questions and save them for Wednesday night. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to answer those. Hey, SMT, next video, can you clear the tracks so we can see what it looks like empty? Okay, I get what you mean. So get rid of all the rolling stock. I don't know where I'd put all of it because the storage bins are kind of full. I guess it would make some freedom though for running trains. It could run them pretty much everywhere. Good night, SMT. Pleasure being here. Would have been nice if you'd run the Sea Liner. I apologize, I forgot about that. I'll run it right now. I know I said I was going to run that as the last train, but I said I was going to run something. I want to stay true to that. Memory doesn't serve so well, unfortunately. Panther Hobbies is neat. Lots of N scale. The layout in the back is real cool. That's a store. Ottawa Model Rail fan, who I know in real life, he visited that store and couldn't believe that place. It looks like amazing. They got some great deals and stuff. Definitely a place I'd visit in Toronto if I was ever up in Toronto. Hey, SMT, does the streetcar that you have run? If so, can you run it? I want to see what it looks like because I might get one. It does run. I don't even know if this is plugged in. Okay, I'm going to get this running, and then I'll run that. But road trip, bro. Yeah, because that sounds good. I haven't been to Toronto since, well, been there through their airport. But I think the last time I actually went for a trip to Toronto was in, like, 2005 or 6. I don't know. It was a while ago. Well, I got my request. I'm happy. Yeah, I do apologize for forgetting that. Obviously, nothing intentional. It just sort of happens. All right. I'm not mad. All right. Good. I want everyone to be happy. This one's got a bit of a funny noise to it, but it sounds kind of cool, actually. It's one thing that some people who have been in the hobby will tell you about old DC engines that are really loud. They'll say, you know, that's part of the realism. They make sound just like a real train does. I guess it's kind of true. Wait till you get to your 50s and the memory kind of gets thrown out. Thanks to the wife, I can remember just about everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's not long-term memory. That's not the problem. It's the short-term memory. It's so weak. But as far as long-term memory goes, I can remember visiting a Hershey chocolate factory when I was 4 years old and what I bought and saw there and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Something's messed up there, but nothing I can do. What makes the surprise of the Xmas is even more great? I'm having N scale and HO scale. Yeah, I'm sure that's fun. Anyway, I'll read some last comments here. I'm just going to stop this train so I'm not keeping the people of the upstairs awake. We'll stop it right in front of the crossing. There we go. Wonderful. I'm in a town near where those green and white cars, I saw them there. I've always liked the old German steamies. I used to have an old set from 1987, but it's no more, sad to say. SMT, what's that layout in the background? Well, it's kind of a secret, but I already kind of spilled the beans on that. Building a layout for family friend's son. Thank you very much for running my requests. Good that you stayed true to your word. I try to. SMT, can you do a virtual railfan reaching live stream? Like virtual railfanning? Can you run a super long freight train? I think I'm going to have to stop running trains for the night just because it's almost 11 o'clock and I don't want to keep the people that... there are people sleeping like right above here, eh? So I don't want to keep them up, but maybe in the next stream. Perth Railfan, okay, well I'm off to see you tomorrow, SMT. See you later, Chris. All right, have a good night, Perth Railfan. I got an old lifelike F7 from one of my relatives, and it stops in the straights. And when it in turns, it kind of makes me sad that it doesn't run. That's a very odd problem. I don't know what kind, like if you're talking about an old proto or an old lifelike or a lifelike proto, because both of them say lifelike on the bottom. If it's a lifelike proto, I don't know what the problem would be. The only thing I could figure on a conventional lifelike is maybe the wipers, which are the pieces of metal which make contact with the wheels. There's a possibility those are bent in a weird way, and maybe that's why on the straights they won't make contact, but on the corners, because they make the wheels tilt to one side, that might be why that's happening. So I'd investigate around there. Might find the problem. Old lifelike engines, usually not that hard to fix, honestly. They're things can go wrong with them, but they're very simple engines, so it's too bad it's not working, but I don't think it's anything serious. SMT has HO, N scale, and a bit of O. I'm waiting for him to get into Z scale so I can watch him freak out. There's probably a bit of time before that, but yeah, Z scale would be interesting. It's worth getting a German loco back. I'm living in the Netherlands, but most heritage steam locos are German. The only ones that are Dutch are really small ones like tram or local. I got the log dump car working while watching your live stream. Happy to hear that, DV Tech. Going to see a video about that soon. I came back and the live stream's about to end. Well, it's been going for a pretty good amount of time there. I mean, I don't know what this would be. I think 120 minutes is 2 hours, and we're at 146 minutes. So, yeah, we're about 2 hours and 26 minutes in. It's pretty good. Is the stream over? Not yet. Good night, love your stuff here. Thank you so much for cooking with trains. Frito TV, have a good night. Thank you. Ant and Bruce Harrison, have yourself a wonderful night, dear friend. Thank you so much, Ant and Bruce. You too. Just finished restoring my grandma's first HO scale train. That's awesome. How long have you had the streetcar? I bought it last fall. This was really cheap. I think it was $24, $21. I don't know. It was brand new too, which for something of its, yeah, it is a Bachmann, but Bachmann, to me, it's just about the price to quality ratio. So if there's a Bachmann engine, going for a really cheap price, it's actually not too bad. It's okay since Canadian Pacific is not running its Christmas train. How about us model railroaders give people a virtual show? That's a very great idea. I've been actually putting together an idea, something along those lines in the spirit of the holiday train. YouTube recently implemented a button where you can donate money to charities. So I'm thinking about making a certain train that might be kind of similar to that. And we'll put some fun lights on it maybe. Again, this is all pie in the sky. And we'll light it up and yeah, do some fundraising around the holidays. I think that would be good. And the wonderful thing too is, since YouTube implemented that button, they're not going to, because the thing about super chats, when people send a super chat, Google takes, I think, 40 or 50% of that. But in this case, with the donation button, YouTube, since it's for charity, is not going to touch the money. In fact, I'm pretty sure they actually said they're going to be paying for any fees to get the money from the donations to the charity. So it's really nice that YouTube is planning on taking care of that. So I'd love to take part in that, and I think it'd be a good thing to do. Burlington did that Christmas train too. That's great. Well, yeah, okay. Anyway, I think I'm going to finish off the live stream now. I'd like to thank you all so much for joining in. Let's read this comment here. SMT, have you considered getting S-Gauge? I can't say I have yet, but maybe one day. Oh, got a few more comments, actually. They went quiet, now they're coming in. Good night, SMT. Hope to see you in the weekend stream. My grandpa has an old steam engine from his childhood, and I'd love to get it repainted for him. Is there a way I could send it to you and you could repaint it? I'm not really good at painting stuff, honestly. I wouldn't want to mess something like that up. I love your videos. You're an amazing young guy. Ozzy loves you. Thank you so much. I'm 52 and I don't blame my wife. Anyway, have a wonderful night, everyone. I think I'm end off the stream right here. All right. Good night.